You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
I'm Katrina, and I love anime.
I'm Steven, and I'm aware of anime.
But what if that affection could rub off?
Perhaps that excitement in her eyes got me curious.
I could offer up some solid anime.
I could give them a watch, just to see what all the fuss is about.
And maybe, just maybe,
I could learn to love anime too.
welcome to Inspired by a Weeaboo. Welcome back, everyone, to Inspired by a Weeaboo. I am your host, Katrina White, and with me is my husband, Steven.
Konnichiwa.
We just finished, what was it, episode 4 of Furikiri.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you think?
I felt like this episode was going to, I don't know, start to simplify things a little bit, and then it went off the rails at the end again. So now I'm confused again. So help me through it. Baseball apparently seemed to be a theme with this episode, and I pulled up their names this time. Naota.
Yes. They call him Takun.
Okay, Taku, Naota, whatever. Did he strike his father or not?
No.
Okay.
No, he did. He hit the television. Like the bat went backwards, hit the television, and then it looked like an alarm clock or something that was on the television flew off and then hit. And technically it wasn't his father. It was a robot.
Sure, but why?
Because he was upset.
Well, okay, and that's where I felt like they were trying to streamline a little bit to where it was making more sense, because you saw his father being creepy with the hold on, I got her name, Haruko.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really fucking weird what he was doing, scratching his whiskers all over her body.
Yeah.
And so it was implying something sexual. And of course, her noise that she was making was very sexual.
Yes.
And then we saw later on where he kind of peeked in the room. It's kind of that catching your parents in the act kind of thing. I know she's not a parent, but you know, that whole aspect, that whole idea of catching someone in the act. And then he has one of his little spark moments where you think something's going to pop out of his head. And of course, all it does is trigger an alarm, which I'm assuming, did they fire the bomb? Or was this because of him? Did the bomb or whatever this thing was come at them, this giant baseball?
No, the bomb was initially like a contingency plan. But something went wrong with it and it started hurtling towards the earth and they couldn't stop it.
Gotcha. And so the eyebrow man, whose name we never caught, but he had some big, thick, massive eyebrows.
They literally look like sushi wraps.
So that's...
Like, literally, they look like fucking sushi wraps.
That everybody commented on. They didn't call them sushi wraps. They were just like, the eyebrows. You know, everybody noticed his big fake eyebrows. Apparently, they're fake. But, so... He knows something about Haruko.
Yes, he knows her.
And I'm assuming he's been tracking her. And then when Naota's head kind of sparked after the peekaboo incident, as we'll call it. Because, I mean, it sounded like they were... I don't know if he was still doing whisker stuff, but, you know, I think we were kind of getting there. You know, it sounded like they were about to, you know...
Yeah.
Tag it and bag it. But so I don't know. Maybe he did, because he started apologizing at the end, you know, whatever.
But again, that wasn't the father. The one that was in the room with her was the robot.
Okay, so none of that was his dad.
No.
So why? So that was his dad, kind of crumbled up corpse up under the. So why?
Yes, the dehydrated body.
Okay, so because that was just so messed up. I was like, so is his father dead? And then of course he takes him to the bathtub and rehydrates him.
Yeah.
Again, makes no sense. Why? What?
Because
was she like a succubus or something?
No, because like he said, she had no more use for him. She couldn't obtain the portal like she could through the child, so she had no more use for him. So she replaced him with something, you know, she could get her thrills out of and to fuck with Nato. Because if you notice, that's the whole thing. Nato being upset with his dad is because he's jealous.
Okay.
He took the first time that they're really together, and he asks her why, you know, you're doing all this. And she says, because you're the one I saw first.
Mm-hmm.
And he, you know, you think of it as a child, and like Eyebrows Guy says, you know, when he talks to him, older women are trouble. So think of it kind of as a young boy who's getting this attention from an older woman, and he thinks this is what it is, but it might not actually be that. Kind of the flirtation, like Stacy's mom.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
That kind of thing. But Haru does like fuck with him. Mm-hmm. Like I kind of, and I feel like it really helps with the show Big Mouth. I kind of feel like Haru is Nato's hormone monster in a way.
Oh yeah.
Like she's all those pent up feelings and everything else. Because if you notice, like the whole swinging and, you know, his hand hurt and stuff like that. Like I don't think he had sex. I think he, you know, pleasured himself.
Oh yeah.
In a way.
Baby.
Yeah, no, you can stop with that.
Hey, I'm never going to have time to do voices on this show. Come on.
But I feel like it's almost, you know, she seemed pleased with it, as in you finally, you know, let yourself feel something. You finally did something for yourself, not for everybody else. You pleased yourself, not everybody else. And it's like he grew as a person, and she's the person, although her methods are really fucked up, she's the one helping him and pushing him towards, you know, being that person.
So he put the bun in the hot dog in the bun and just started going to town on that thing, baby. He put the mustard on it and everything. That's all right, baby. Nothing wrong with that. Sorry. So
that's how I perceive it. I could be wrong. I don't know. I feel like everybody kind of views this show differently. Like you still pick up on those tones, but I feel like everyone still kind of interprets it differently.
Okay. I mean, there's just little elements to it. It's like I'm picking up what they're putting down, and then they go and just do some bizarre shit like the baseball bomb, and then he hits it. So, but again, that also seems like it's supposed to be reflective of the time at the beginning of the show where you see him playing baseball, and that he can't do anything. He sucks. And I'm also assuming that compares to his brother.
Yeah, like the entire show's still kind of centered around baseball in a way, because his brother is a baseball player. There's he always has the bat. He's always being compared to his brother and everything else. And I think that's one of the things where he definitely stands firm on he hates baseball. He can't live up to his brother or anything else like that. He, you know, it's just, even when you see all the players on the team, like his grandfather's the freaking coach, and they basically replaced him with his own fucking robot because, you know, none of the other players were leaving. It was the fucking kid who got booted.
And it just seemed, I know we never really got to see the robot play per se, but I feel like when they were testing its capabilities, I'm like, you realize this is cheating, right? Because you can just
but
dive
you look at
for the
Haru,
ball.
I mean, she's basically cheating too.
This is true. So she knows that Eyebrows is coming after her, because she seemed like when the emergency tone was going off, she was like, oh yeah, like almost kind of had this look like, come and get me.
I feel like it was more towards she had something to do with the satellite. Like
So
it
this
was a
is all
way,
planned.
yeah, like to find the person who she can pull things from, which is Nato. And I think it's just testing him.
Okay, so set all this up just to give him yet another test.
Basically.
Okay. I'm trying to understand the show. I get the themes, but then it's when they go into this completely bizarre territory, they start to lose me. I'm like, come back, you know. so I can understand what you're telling me, but you went over here and I'm back over that way. And, like I said, I want to understand it. I want to like it
Yeah.
because I appreciate comparisons like that to where it's not openly stating everything, but more subtle and more nuanced and metaphorical. But goddamn, sometimes with a show, I don't know what's happening.
It is one of those that's hard to follow because I feel like it's buried a lot deeper than a lot of other things like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't like it, because they don't understand it at first. It just seems chaotic. And I just feel like the more you watch it, the more you'll pick up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I sure as hell didn't pick up on it the first time I ever watched it.
Well, see, like even the TV breaking, I feel like I missed that. And that's where I was trying to piece it back together. I was like, when did he smash the TV? Mm-hmm. Because I remember he went outside and he was looking, was it a vending machine?
Yeah.
And he tapped it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when the eyebrow guy showed up and he was like, hey, you gotta, I don't remember what he said, but he was just like, don't be beaten on it or something like that. Trying to give him some tips and whatnot. And then laid out a few little breadcrumbs that he was kind of hip to what was going on, but didn't quite say anything. And then they started talking about curry bread, which I didn't know was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to understand why they were talking about it, because all Naota would say is, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Right. So what was the curry bread supposed to be a metaphor for?
I don't think it was really a metaphor for anything. I mean, they run like a bakery and everything else, and I feel like Eyebrows was just, trying to make conversation while also obtaining information. Mm-hmm. Because he's not necessarily after Haru, but he's like keeping eyes on her. Like he knows she's up to something, but he has no cause to bring her in if he could even bring her in. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the whole, when it comes back to, obviously she saved the planet before, because he makes the comment to Naoto, tell her we need her to hit another one out of the park or whatever. Yeah. And, her number one fan.
I'm trying.
I know. And you still have 2 more episodes. So maybe over the next 2 episodes, you'll get a little bit more information. By the end of it, you'll understand a little more.
But kind of what you've said, I feel that multiple watches would probably be best, because after I get it, then I'd want to go back. Hopefully, if I got it by the time it ends, then I can go back and be like, okay, I see what they're doing here. I see what they're doing there. So maybe it is like that, but I have to like by episode 6, I have to be like, I got it now. I got it. Because if I don't, I'm just going to be like, I don't know what the hell was going on for 6 episodes of this show. Thank God it's only 6 episodes. And I don't want to be one of these haters that don't understand it, because I'm trying. I really am. And I know I've stated that before, but it's just...
I mean, and it's always one of those things you could come back to in the future and try again.
Yeah. Because again, 6 episodes, I mean, that's nothing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of shows that go for a lot longer. And me personally, I'm of the mindset that 6, 10, 12, that's a nice number. If you're going to tell your story, just keep it simple. You don't have to stretch everything out to 25, 26 episodes like sitcoms used to do in the 80s. And,
Which I need to look up how many episodes our next one's going to be, because I feel like it does have more episodes.
Well, don't spoil it for everybody. But
I'm not saying nothing.
I mean, I know that there are some anime, but you've even mentioned that like a anime like One Piece goes up for like hundreds, and there were what else? I know that you mentioned some others.
Inuyasha has over 100. Dragon Ball has over 100.
But
Fairy Tail has like, I think almost 500. It's like 450 something episodes. I'm pretty sure One Piece is already past the 600 mark.
See, so okay, so we're talking about shows that are Simpson level shows that have gone on for decades.
Definitely One Piece. Inuyasha ended years ago. Now they have the sequel, which is about his daughter and his brother's daughters. I know One Piece has been going on strong. Dragon Ball has had different, like it started out with Dragon Ball, then went to Dragon Ball Z, then went to Dragon Ball GT, then went to Dragon Ball Super. So it's kind of different, like Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball GT kind of gets chucked out to the curb because nobody really liked it. Like just the way that they did everything. I've never met anyone who was happy with GT ever. Like some of the characters, yes, but the main characters that it follows, not really. So I feel like Super was a way to kind of retcon that. And that's kind of what I heard, is Super was a way to just kind of push GT out of it. But at least with Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, it carries a coherent storyline. It is a full storyline. And
they aren't the same series. It's almost like saying, okay, well, we've got this series, now that's done, now we're going to move on, and then we can kind of change things or age up characters.
I mean, yes, they aged up characters. Characters started families. I mean, Dragon Ball follows more of Goku as a child. Dragon Ball Z kind of starts off more with him having a family and him having his first son. He goes on to have two more sons, Gohan, Goten, maybe. I think that's just the two. Damn, it's been so long. But he goes on to have children. And even Vegeta, like all of them go on to have kids and families. And then it's just taking on, because there's always a new threat. Like each kind of season is about one threat. So you have your, what you call sagas.
Gotcha.
So it's still a coherent storyline. All the characters still stay the same. But it's just kind of going on into the future. And I think Super kind of picks off where Dragon Ball Z left off and continues to go on into the future. But I have not watched Super. And it's been a long time since I've watched Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z.
Alrighty. Well, I don't really have anything else more to say about this episode. And
no, I can't really think of
because
much else to say about it. Because again, I feel like the bigger discussion is going to come at the end of it. And maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like at least then you can look at it as a whole and try to piece together the, kind of fucked up puzzle that Furikiri is.
Yeah. And the fact that there are 2 other seasons just boggles my mind, because I'm just curious, especially if you're not following the same people, which, I mean, you said you've never seen them.
I mean, with some animes, even though they're considered other seasons, their seasons are so freaking short that most people wouldn't consider them seasons. And there's several animes that do that, where it's you have like 6 to 12 episodes and that's your one season. Like freaking 7 Deadly Sins on Netflix. Like when it first came out, we got like 24 episodes. And then the next season was like 3. And then the following season was like 4. And then they had another season that was just like 3. And you're just like, these aren't fucking seasons.
Yeah.
Just dropped another 24 episodes and wait it out. We'll wait for it as long as we can get a good... ended up losing interest in it.
Well, the fact that they dropped 24 at first and then started sparsing them out, why not just do... I mean, you'd have had 4 seasons right there. 6 episodes, 6 episodes, 6 episodes. And then that'd have given you time to
Plus
get the other...
movies, because I'm pretty sure they made at least 1 movie.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong on the number for the first one, but I remember the first season, it had several episodes.
Now, did they do... Was it seasons or was it parts? Because I know Netflix has been doing this part crap because they did that with Voltron.
It seems to be labeled, or it was labeled as like seasons. Like you had season 1 of 7 Deadly Sins. Then you had season 2 that dropped. Like it didn't seem to be in parts. Like they had part episodes, like part 1, part 2 of episodes. But it was labeled as seasons.
All right. Well, Netflix does weird crap. I don't know. But that's all I got for this episode. So out there, all you weebs, if you want to share the show with other people, you tell them to look up Inspired by Weeaboo on your favorite podcast platform, and we should be there. And if you just want to make it easier, you can put that little favorite star, your favorite tab on pencilpaperproductions.com/inspired weeaboo. And you can follow everything right there.
Thank you, all my little weebs. Until next time.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.